Glad to know you stay with us. And just like I said earlier, we are joined by Charles Fakroha, iBrandTV senior analyst. He's right there with me in the studio. Good to have you join us today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
You can say that again. Okay, so where do you want us to start with? The first story?
Let's start with the first story.
Okay, yeah. Nigeria loses 981.8 megawatts in 7 years. And this is despite over 1.51 trillion naira investment by the federal government. Talk to us about this. For me, I'm wondering, this is a sector that has been privatized. How come the federal government keeps spending a lot?
Yes, you will also know that in first place, the issue that surrounded the privatization exercise was not too clear. And we've seen where companies already have the competence, the core competence to buy some of those old NEPA or power holding companies, so they had issues. And, being a very critical sector, the federal government keeps supporting. But you also know the sector has not been fully privatized because we still have the transmission company still fully owned by the government. Well, I will say what we are saying now, 2015, when this government came in, and now we've seen the drop several times, in fact, even collapse of the grid. And from your reports, look at over 1 trillion naira has been spent. And if you ask me as a consumer of this product, we have not seen the desired result, which goes to show that those funds have not been used judiciously. Could it be that we don't have the technical capacity or the competence, or the people who are running this sector don't even know what they are doing? Because we can't continue to say the same issue over and over and over. It's not just less than 3 weeks ago we had the grid collapse. And today, people who run their businesses, the usual national grid has become alternative. And we are seeing businesses closing up because of power. So even a blind man will recognize that the sector has really failed. So
what should be done to revitalize or to ensure that this sector, works well? Because there are those who are actually calling for the transcos, that's the transmission arm, to also be privatized. And then the question you want to put to those people is, look at the foregoing. Look at the ones that have been privatized. What have we seen so far? So how are we not sure that the same thing will happen even if that is done?
I agree with you. It is not about privatization now, for me. Because like you have said, the other ones that have been privatized, what have we seen? Nothing. I think it is the issue now is responsibility. If we are not getting what we want, who are responsible? What are these funds going for? There should be accountability. People should be held responsible for their incompetence. People should be, and if we know that, yes, the power sector is beyond our Nigerian engineers, what is wrong from bringing people outside to help us and let us get this thing? We can look at other models all over the world and see how that can come to Nigeria. So that we need to get this power sector once and for all. Because without power, all the other things we are talking about will not work. We need power for industrial development, SMEs, barbing salons, hairdressers, other businesses. They need power to run their businesses. And for now, we are seeing even the high cost of diesel, where companies are shutting down everywhere. So you can see that we just need to get it right. However, I believe we have that competence here. For me, if you ask me personally, it's a matter of leadership. I think we should
just move on to the other stories. Talking about forex shortages, we have this is about the federal government creating new window for exporters. I thought there is the I&E window, which is for importers and exporters.
Yes. Well, again, one would say, let's commend the Central Bank of Nigeria. They're looking at just different ways. At times, when you don't really know what to do and you don't just want to stay idle, you try so many things. And, of course, you monitor the result. And if it is good, you continue. If it's not good, of course, you don't continue. So I'll commend them for that. And because the forex problem is a big issue. How do you assess forex as an exporter? You'll be forced to go to the parallel market. And that is what is going on today. And it's so funny
that the I&E window isn't effective, or the scarcity is actually making it difficult.
Exactly. That is it. It's actually making it difficult. And that's why the CBN is saying we are going to create another window again. But what I see there is, I've spoken to some exporters, spoken to some importers, and they will tell you that the banks too are not making it easy. Somebody said they told him in the bank that if you go to the parallel market, you get it about 700. But yeah, officially about 4 something. But they just added some few naira and said, well, this is what you have to pay. And he said he had no choice than to pay. And what it means that those bank officials have just made a whopping 2 million naira just like that. Less than 10 minutes transaction. Because he said he needed that forex.
That particular money, is it going to the bank now or to the bank officials who facilitated that particular
we wouldn't know,
transaction?
because of course it had to be done officially. So, and maybe it goes to the bank or goes to the official.
Because we need to know if that is maybe, I mean, that's an official transaction or some personal transaction. But I do not want to believe that any bank official would want to do something unofficial.
But they did it. They did it to this.
Yes, I'm saying I do not.
Okay, whether the money goes to the bank
or
goes to the officials, well, we cannot determine that. And of course, I'm sure the banks have their own operational manual, and of course, they will tell them you need to, operate, do this thing based on this guideline, which of course will be the official rate. So obviously, maybe it must have gone to the bank officials, not to the bank.
That's quite scary, I must say. I mean, that's sabotage. That's what I'll call that.
Of course, yes.
Okay, let's move on now. We're looking at this particular story about the states and the FCT growing IGR by 21.5% to 1.89 trillion naira. And this is more than pre-pandemic period. Yeah. So what has happened?
Yes, we've all seen the reality now. And of course, I have also advocated long ago that the federating unit, the states, then FCT, should be independent of the center. All the governors... What qualifies you as a governor? Yes, you can run a state looking at the resources of that state. You don't even need to go cap in hand begging from the federal government.
Are you saying that all the states are actually viable, or there are certain things?
They can be viable if the governors know what they are doing. We have seen the statistics. There is no state in the country today that do not have 1 or 2 resources that can sustain their economy. What are we doing? Laziness. Everybody wants to go and get oil money, which is very cheap because you don't think, you don't do anything. But we have seen states that can become creative. Even the poorest states in the country, we have one mineral resources or the other. So what is stopping those state government from developing those resources and nesting it and using it to develop their state? Then of course, whatever comes from federal government should just be an additional. That is where every state in Nigeria should be looking towards.
All right, so away from that particular story, I'm just wondering, well, just before we go away, I'm wondering what happened, what changed, how were they able to make something much more than what they were making during, pre-pandemic period?
Yes, everybody came to see the reality, so people had to sit up, and of course, maybe some tightening here and there, and you see the IGI increasing. Yes, when we are serious about something, and we are determined to make it, of course we are going to make it. And I know if these states, the whole 36 states, including Abuja, if they have leaders who are willing to do what is expected of a leader, of course, we will transform. Each of these states will transform. Obviously, the nation will be transformed. But this issue of going to wait for federal allocation, that is what has made all the states, well, not some of them, so most of them, lazy in terms of generating revenue. But you can see the COVID made us look as if we didn't know what to do, but we needed to survive. And you can see the necessity is the mother of invention. And we are seeing the increase in the IGR.
Okay, so finally, the MSME sector, we have the BOI planning 1 billion euro single-digit loan support for them. I mean, single-digit loan, that's a good one. Yes,
but of course, that is the reason why the BOI was established, Bank of Industry, to support SMEs and of course other big companies. And using their credit capacity, they can guarantee some of these loans. That is the good thing about it. So they can keep it at that single-digit figure. It's good, but I must say the BOI has been doing so well, but I think the penetration is still very low. yes, I wouldn't say it is media coverage. Yes, they should partner with media houses like iBrand so that some of these SMEs, because we know iBrandTV is business first, and we know we have the reach when it comes to SMEs and all that. So if there can be a collaboration between iBrandTV and of course BOI, we can see them reaching more and more of these SMEs, and by the time they get to more of them, we will see that implication in terms of these SMEs getting these needed funds, and of course they'll be able to employ more people, and the employment rates, of course, wherever they are, at least if I need 2-3 SMEs are able to employ 4-5 persons, the employment rate will have been reduced one way or the other. So I think BOI, yes, they are doing their constitutional mandates, but I think they need to reach out to more and more media houses, especially iBrandTV.
All right, looking at the issue of access, there are those who would say that some of this intervention or development banks at the end of the day are not accessible to a lot of persons. And some persons believe that in some cases what happens is probably politics or some other things really. Talk to us about accessibility.
Yes, that's one main problem. And you see, some of these SMEs might not have the consultants to do all the work for them. Yes, we've seen cases like that, and some have also complained. Because for you to access some of these intervention loans from the development banks like the Bank of Industry, you need to meet certain criteria. Not really difficult, So, but like I said, the SMEs need to go to the Bank of Industry. If they cannot do it directly, they can employ a consultant, who will not charge them so much and work out all this. I've seen a case where an SME said he does not understand what they are talking about in Bank of Industry. Yeah,
isn't the bank supposed to have a desk, where they probably...
Yes, I'm coming to that, yes. They should have people in, of course, they have various branches. Not only the head office somewhere in the marina, they have various branches in Apapa, in Ikeja and all that. Yes, people are there, That's why the SMEs too. Yes, I'm not saying it's expensive for them to engage professionals, consultants, to do this thing for them. You need one, not even on the full-time employment, maybe on a retainership basis, you get a consultant who will liaise with you, and of course some of the things that the bank will require, of course the consultant will let you know, and you make up this requirement, and it's very easy to access their loan if you know what you are doing, even if you are an SME. So the issue there is our SMEs too, need to up their game a little so that they can access, because we are talking of, it's not a free money.
Yeah.
So, and these monies are being guaranteed by Bank of Industry. So they want also to be sure that these monies they are giving out, these SMEs are able to make use of it and pay. Of course, they give them a lot of moratorium period, because it is basically to develop that sector.
All right.
Yeah. Then the last thing I want to say again, we also have another agency. SMEDAM should do a lot of enlightenment, because we have this SMEDAM is an agency that takes care of SMEs. Let them know that these single-digit loans are available via Bank of Industry and provide those kind of services for them.
All right. I think this is a good place to end the conversation. Many thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, I will bring you more stories. Stay with us, don't go away.